Hello, greetings, kia ora, and welcome, whānau, family and friends. So, I've been away for a couple of weeks. Last week we had a power cut. So, it was scheduled for routine maintenance, but I decided to take a week off. The previous week I actually had problems with fibromyalgia. So, I thought this week I might actually talk to you about fibromyalgia, living with fibromyalgia. Um, it's apparently caused by problems in childhood, like with trauma, abuse, and neglect. Um, that you can have, like if you have trauma, abuse, and neglect during your adult years, then you may actually come down with fibromyalgia. It's to do with being like wound up all the time. Bad things happen and it tends to make you go, "Ooh, yeah," and unless you release that from yourself, you will actually get problems with pain. Um, for me, I was working as a commercial cleaner, as I've already told you in the past. I felt that I was coming down with something in 2012, but I kept working for another 5 years until I tore my tendon in my shoulder. Then I needed to have time off. Well, obviously, you can't work with a torn shoulder tendon, no. And it was discovered that I had sclerosis, which is extra bone growth. So, yeah, if you are working in a labouring job, hard work, hard physical labour, in a factory or like with commercial cleaning, that sort of thing, please listen to your body, because your body will tell you when it has had enough. And you have to learn to be kind to yourself. This is something that I've had to come to grips with in my life, is that I've had to have a complete change in my life. Absolutely a complete change in my life. I used to love doing painting, painting paintings as a way of expressing myself. I love to do music, singing, dancing to music, that sort of thing. I do actually like dancing to music still, but I can't do it for very long. Uh, but this is the things that, when life does take a bit of a strange sideways turn, and you do come down with something, you have to learn to be kind to yourself. You have to learn to love yourself again. Um, and fibromyalgia is a wicked disease in the way that you look absolutely fine to the rest of the world. You're fine. You're absolutely, what's wrong with you? You're not in a wheelchair. How can you call yourself disabled? Well, fibromyalgia is commonly known as chronic fatigue with pain. It affects the tendons, the ligaments, all the soft connective tissue, like your muscles, that sort of thing. Um, as if you wake up in the morning in pain, like in 2012, I was literally getting out of bed and having to support myself, like holding onto the bed as I sort of like left my bedroom, because I was in so much pain in my feet and my ankles. And my hands and my wrists, I couldn't do pottery anymore. I had to give up pottery because I literally couldn't knead the clay, because I'd be kneading for about a minute, and then all of a sudden I would get like a toothache feeling in my wrists and my hands and that sort of thing. Yeah, so it's been a learning curve, learning to cope with it. None of the doctors, apart from the fabulous doctor that took my whole life history into account, and like, oh, the other thing is like, if you have carpal tunnel problems, I've had my carpal tunnel fixed on my right hand. That sort of thing. It's all to do with the soft connective tissues. and being in pain with them all the time. Yeah, like I say, it's caused by trauma, abuse and neglect. Um, I think that for myself personally, because I was anorexic in my 20s after my dad committed suicide, I think that having a poor diet, drinking too much alcohol, and taking lots of drugs and that sort of thing, because, well, let's face it, I was in like pain after, emotional pain. So emotional pain, if you feel that, try and learn the ways of meditation, exercise, that sort of thing, to try and release emotional pain before it gets into your body and your muscles and ligaments and tendons and that sort of thing. So getting to grips with it yourself, you have to make changes in your life. You must do, because you can't carry on, like running around at 50,000 miles an hour, like flying around the multiverse all the time, because, like you're trying to get everything done. You can't do that anymore, and you have to learn patience. Patience is your friend, and caring for yourself, learning to embrace yourself in the new way that you are. That is good. Aroha. Learning aroha for yourself. When you learn to care for yourself, that's when you actually learn to care for others as well, because then you see that, like, oh my God, what people are going through in their lives and that sort of thing. You just have to be understanding for yourself and understanding for others, but you have to look after yourself. If you are friends with someone who comes down with fibromyalgia, please be aware that they will tire easily, that they may not be able to go for 6-hour bushwalks anymore. They may just be able to have a wee stroll along the footpath outside their house, and that's it. So if you're a friend, you support your friend who has fibromyalgia, because it's kind of, yeah, like I say, it's kind of cruel, because you look perfectly well on the outside. I had a hell of a time here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, when I had to leave my employment and get onto a benefit. It was terrible. I had people at WINS that wouldn't upload documents from my therapist and my doctor. So they were trying to stop me from getting on a benefit, because it's like I look perfectly well, apart from walking a little bit funny because of, like if you've been sitting down, everything just sort of seizes, and you have trouble getting out of the chair. Apart from that, they go, what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you. And that is a terrible thing to try and cope with, as well as you're trying to get to grips with not being yourself. But you can do it, and if you've got a friend, you can be patient with them and understanding, because that's what's good. Because you probably find that your friend will become rather depressed and anxious because they can't do the things. Their house might be a bit messy. I parcel out my housework each day. I will do a little bit of housework, so that I can sort of like keep on top of things as best as possible without wearing myself out, and still giving myself time and energy to be able to do what I love, because that is important in life, is you must be able to do what you love. What I love is creativity, stitchery. You can do some stitching, and then you can put it down and go, sweet, that's some stitching that I've done. And then you can like pick it up again and do some more stitching, do some knitting, warm furry wool that just feels so good with your hands. And also I'll be able to get back to my spinning again. I find spinning is like very soothing, but you have to be careful with your time management. Don't push yourself. If you've got fibromyalgia, or you suspect you're coming down with fibromyalgia, don't push yourself. Be kind and be gentle. The other things that you need to do is you have to make sure you get enough sleep. because literally with fibro, when you lie down in bed, it almost feels like you've been strapped into a one of those old medieval torture things where they stretch you. Well, and like when you wake up in the morning, it's like you feel like you've been tossed down a rocky hillside. It's not very pleasant, hey? And yeah, so you have to make sure you have sleep and have rest, have proper sleep and rest. You know, do what you can for yourself. I mean, even if you have to take drugs for a wee while, the doctor's drugs for a wee while, to help settle and maintain positive sleep patterns, whether you're a night owl or a day bird, you know, you need to have that time of sleep. That's important. And physical exercise. You have to, and I'm saying this, you have to get out and walk. Even if it's like 10 or 15 minutes, you know, just a quick stroll down the block, down to the corner and back again. You do that because it's important that you don't lose muscle tone. Just because you're in pain, you know, you don't lose muscle tone. You have to keep working. You have to keep working at your fitness. But be kind to yourself. Don't make yourself run on a marathon. No. And if the weather's inclement, you know, it's a bit cold and snowy and howling with wind, put on a little bit of music and just gently move to it. You know, just move your body, and be happy with that. Yes. Uh, Go to physio. Be told what you can do with exercises for fibromyalgia. We're lucky in Aotearoa because we can actually get 6 free physio sessions when we go to our doctor and request it. So that is really good. Thumbs up to the government for providing that for us poor people. Yeah, because physio people, it was actually from my physiotherapist that I had, that she actually said, make sure that you do something you enjoy every day, because it's like, I didn't realise, you know, it was like, oh, actually, yeah, and don't be guilty for doing something that you enjoy, because that's good for you. So yeah, so recap, yeah, if you've suffered trauma in your life, if you've, you know, had a really hard life where deaths and war or you know, whatever, abuse from neighbours, abuse from school kids, you know, if you're at school, get that sorted out and get that emotional pain out of your body before it gets into your muscles and that. Exercise, healthy eating, make sure that you get like 3 small meals a day, drinking water, good pure water, you know, boil your water if it's a little bit icky. Yeah, because you've got to make sure that you keep hydrated as well. So it's all about aroha for yourself, looking after yourself. It's not the end of the world if you come down with something. It isn't. There is a future that you can make for yourself. It just looks a little bit different from what you previously planned. So, okay, big hugs and kisses from me to you. You take care of yourself, and I will check in with you sometime again soon. See you later. Bye.